Okay? You are in a business that can make you wealthy. If that's not your cup of tea, that's okay. It can make your life easier by bringing in a couple of thousand extra a month. Easily, you can do that with this business. But if you are wanting to build a big business, then you have to treat it like a business. Just because you paid $99 for your business builder kit, you don't treat it like a $99 business. You treat it like the multi-million-dollar business that it is. You know, when you get in a position where you're an ambassador diamond, you're running millions of volume through your business. You know, when you're running $4 to $5 million a month in volume in your business, some ambassadors are running 8 to 10 million a month in their business. It's crazy. That's huge. We were told that was more than the Mercedes dealership does in a month. You know, that's big business. So if you're going to be in a big business, you got to treat it like a big business. So you got to start working on you. You have to start getting the books. You've got to read or get them on audio or something to where you've got good stuff coming in. You have to learn. In this business, people are becoming leaders because of the very fact that they're working their way up the ranks very quickly, but they're not leaders. You know, that can be a real challenge. I mean, it's a good challenge to have. You're making leader money, but you don't have a clue how to deal with people. And so it's very important. If you're going to make a big business, you've got to be big inside you. So that means getting into the books. A great book you need to be reading is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich. It's an old book, but the principles in there are very valid today. And it's all about what you think. It says in the Bible, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So it's whatever you're thinking about is what you bring about. Okay? So Think and Grow Rich is a great book. Another book is What to Say When You're Talking to Yourself. What to Say When You're Talking to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter, Helmstetter. Shad, S-H-A-D. Shad Helmstetter. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Because we talk to ourselves all the time, right? That little voice in our head is always talking about, oh, I wish I could do that, or I'm too scared. I don't want to do that. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine going out and blitzing that person. You know, I can't imagine making the kind of money that they're making. What if I fail? What if I don't do right? What are you saying to yourself? It's important what you say to yourself. Yourself meaning you, who you are. So that's another good book. Another good book is Anything by John Maxwell, especially the leadership books by John Maxwell. The very first leadership book you should get is How Successful People Lead by John Maxwell. It's a very simple little book. It talks about the 5 levels of leadership and how you get from one to the next, to the next, to the next, till you get to the 5th level. And that is absolutely the ultimate in leadership. And so it's important that you are changing yourself, that it's like Tony said, watch what you say, or was it Ben? Was it Ben or Tony one talked about what you say on Facebook? Ben. All right. That is so true, you guys. You are on parade. You're living in a glass house now. People are watching you. They're watching and you have no idea they're watching. And you can say all the right things, and you have one negative post, you have blown it with most people. I know when I've got so many people that I have followed or have been friends with in all these years on Facebook or whatever, and if I'm going down through there's so many that I follow or that I'm friends with, not that I follow, but that I'm friends with. If I see them making a very negative post, and it's got some cussing, or it's sexual in content, or whatever they're posting is something questionable, and it turns me off, unfollow. I don't want to see another thing by that person. And that's what's happening with a lot of people. People will unfollow you really quick based on your behavior on Facebook. So it's very important. Another thing is, don't be on Facebook poaching somebody else's prospects. You know what goes around comes around. And you might have gotten away with it, but it will come back to bite you, and it'll bite you hard. If you don't run your business with integrity, you will not be in business long, and you will definitely never build a big business. I can promise you. Because the one that's really watching is always watching. And so you have to have integrity. You can't be so desperate to build your business that you are actively looking at other distributors' comments and posts and seeing that other people are liking their post or whatever, and go behind and go contact those people. It's happening too much, y'all. And I'm sure it's happened to you that somebody has stolen somebody right out from underneath you. I mean, it's a pretty sad day when you can't welcome a new distributor into your organization because you fear that someone will go behind you and call that person and say, oh my gosh, you should have got into business with me. And then all of a sudden, that person who came in with you is no longer with you. You ever had that happen? They disappeared within the first 24 hours? It's because they have the right to change their mind in the first 24 hours. And I've seen them go from one to the other because somebody went behind and said, I can't believe you signed up with them. You should have signed up with me. You know? So don't do that. Don't be so desperate that you have to lie, cheat, and steal to get distributors or to get customers. If you do that once, you'll have to do it again and again and again because God will not honor that. So I hope it's okay that I'm being a little bit real with you here because I just see it happening and it breaks my heart. And so I don't want y'all doing that. I don't want to see you thinking that you can do something like that and get away with it because you will not get away with it. Not for long. You've got to run your business with integrity. I always have to think, what would Cindy Pentecost think? Okay? If you're going to post something, think, what would Cindy Pentecost think? Would she approve of that? And if you have any doubt whatsoever, you better hit delete or cancel it or whatever, and don't do it. Only say those things that are uplifting, positive, reinforcing, encouraging, and motivating, those types of things. Okay? I hope by now some of you have been in the business long enough that you realize that this business is more than just a business. This is actually a very powerful, life-changing thing for people. And you will come to realize that, wow, this isn't just about me. This is about other people's lives. And God has already, this is something I believe, that God has already got your team picked out. He already knows who's supposed to come into business with you. And why in the world doesn't he give them to you right away so you can just be successful all at once overnight? It's because he needs to change you. He needs you to change so that he can bless you with those people that he has for you. But most of us are not ready for that. Most of us have to change. We have to get our thinking right. We have to get our mental cap on and think about building a big business and becoming that person that God made you to be. Let's face it, we all have faults. We all have things that we do. We open our mouth and we insert foot and we are so not thinking, and over time we start learning that, oh my gosh, I can't do that. You know, I told one girl one time, she was just adamantly saying, I'm right, I am right about this, and I don't care what anybody thinks, I'm in the right. And I said, look, you can be right or you can be rich, but you can't be both. you know? So what if you're right? It's not worth fighting over that, you know? And if you are a leader of people, you can't take sides, y'all. You have to learn to diffuse a situation, not add to it. So that's one of the most difficult things for me, is I can see that somebody clearly was in the right, but then there's also going to be something on the other side that helps, that says they have a point too. And so as a leader, I have to say, I see both sides, but here is what we need to do. You know, so you got to be really good at doing that. You got to be really good at being slow to anger, very quick to forgive, and don't be so fast to criticize somebody or say somebody's wrong or be critical. You know, you just got to think before you speak. If it's not edifying, uplifting, encouraging, motivating, lovely, don't say it. Just don't say it. Doesn't matter if it's true or not, just don't say it. Okay? So you gotta be a good judge of yourself on whether or not you are, you know, is what I'm about to say edifying, motivating, encouraging, uplifting, and if not, you gotta rein yourself in and say, I better not say that. Okay? We've got a few minutes left here, about 10 minutes. I'd just like to open it up. If anybody has any questions that they would like to ask me or any of the other leaders that have been up here. Anybody got any kind of questions that they want to ask? Y'all know it all, huh? No questions? Okay.
I'll ask one. What's your best suggestion when somebody tells you they really want to do it, but they just don't have the money to do it, and they don't have the money to continue every month to buy something?
Okay, did y'all hear her? She asked, what's the best response to somebody who says they really, really want to do the business, but they don't have the money to start, and they don't have the money to do the auto ship and to continue their business? You know, for me, if they really sincerely are struggling with money, then they can pre-sell their wraps. Okay? They can do that. They can pre-sell their wraps. Sometimes people do that as an excuse. They don't know how to tell you no. There's so many different things they can do. They can sell some stuff on Craigslist. They can put up some of their stuff for sale. There's all sorts of ways. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. People do what they want to do. Period. They really do. They want something bad enough, they'll get the money. So I don't use that. I don't let them use that as an excuse for me. And if they can't run an auto ship, then they've got to get their customers up where they've got enough volume going on the customer volume. Because in order to be commission qualified, you either have to do the 80 BV auto ship or you have to have 150 in personal business volume. Either one. And we used to be really strong about the 80. And to me, if you're in business, that's the cost of doing business. But to me, if they are out there getting customers and they've got more than enough volume, I warn them that if that volume falls below 150, that they're not going to get paid. But if they're big girls and they want to take that chance and watch it, and then put in some extra money at the end of the month, if they've got 140 and they need $10 more worth, they better order a Fat Fighter or whatever. I'm not so strong on that anymore because it is either or. Okay? But it is important that they understand it's a business. So one of the things when you are working with a brand new potential distributor is to interview them. Sit down and ask them, what are your goals? What do you want? What are you going to do? If I can show you how to, ask them how much money they want to make. Okay, they want to make $2,000 a month. Then you say, if I can show you how to do that, which is getting them to diamond, how many hours a week would you be willing to put into that? How many weeks per month? How many months would you be willing to dedicate in order to make that happen? If they're telling me they'll give it a month, I'm going to tell them, well, then you're not going to make it You know, if they say that they're willing to give it a year to do that, then you got somebody that's realistic, that somebody, you know, that it's seeing that it's going to take some work. You know, so based on what they're telling you is how you're going to work with them and respond to them. So if they can't afford it, that's not an excuse. There are ways to get it. I hope that helped. Okay? Anybody else have any questions? Okay?
How do you encourage someone on your team who has been successful and achieved your rank and then has maybe lost it a little bit and there's kind of a rut? Like, how do you
remotivate them?
Yes.
Breathe life back into them?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's asking, how do you motivate somebody who had made a rank and then had fallen back or whatever? It's whatever it is they want out of the business. That's what you have to get back to them and say, why did you start this in the first place? Do you still want to be able to pay for private school for your kids? Are you still wanting to retire your husband? You know, you've got to get back to their dream. If you don't have a dream and you don't have a purpose for what you're doing, you're not going to do it. Every excuse is going to be an excuse. You know, if you're tired, you're going to come home and say, I don't want to make phone calls, I'm tired because I really don't want to retire my husband that bad. Right? So you got to refer back to their dream. Why did they get into this to begin with? And if that doesn't motivate them, then I don't know. You know, sometimes you just got to let people go wallow in their mess. You know, sometimes people get into this, you guys, and they build so fast that they didn't take time to develop relationships. Megan said it, you've got to build relationships with people. And so if you're just filling in boxes and you're not talking to these people and finding out how many kids they have and, you know, what's their life like and reaching out to them, then you are building on sand. You have to develop the relationships with people. This is a people business. So it's okay if you want to fill in boxes, but you better get to know every single one of those boxes. You know, if you're filling them in, I personally think that's a terrible way to build the business. If you're doing all the work, what if something happened and you can't do the work anymore? It's all going to fall apart. You've got to find some people who want to do this too and work with those people and help them, build them, work with them. You know, I'm all for placing people. That's okay too, but it needs to be strategic. If you're just placing people, I've talked with Stephanie Dunn. All right, they have done the box building, and they would put somebody who's a rock star, but they didn't know it at the time, but they ended up putting a rock star on their 10th level just to help build whatever they're trying to build to. And they regret it. They regret it later because they didn't take the time to know who that person was. They just signed them up. They didn't know that that person had greatness in them and was going to be a rock star. So they ended up on that leader's 10th level, and they're just like sick because it doesn't take long when you're not paid on them anymore. You know, so there's so much to this, guys. If it's going to be, if you're going to make $500,000 a year, don't you think it's worth doing it right? It doesn't do you any good to build up to diamond and just the very next month you've lost it because you just threw people in boxes. And the volume wasn't there, and so you were buying volume and doing stuff like that. It doesn't work. Now, with that said, if you are running 10,000 plus a month in volume and it's very strong and very steady and you're not diamond, you better place some people somewhere and get yourself to diamond because you are missing out. But if you normally run 2,000 a month in the volume and you say, I'm going diamond this month, but 2,000's been about what you've been running, and yeah, you put orders in and you got everybody ordering, you got all that, and you became diamond, but next month the real people are back to 2,000 again. You see what I'm saying? Didn't do you any good. So take the time to build this. It's not a race. We're talking about your life. Your life. And you can build it on strong, solid ground by not worrying about what other people are doing. Quit looking to the left and looking to the right. Run your own race. You are the one that's going to benefit, or you're the one that's going to be hurt. The one beside you is not. The one that you're looking at, comparing yourself to, has no skin in your game. So if you compare yourself and you get caught in that trap, trust me, it costs you. It costs you a lot to do that. And how do you think I know? So I had to learn that as long as I'm building my business with integrity, and I do my business all out of love. I build my business through love. And if I can't, if it gets to the point where it's because of the money, then I better quit. Okay? Because I work with a lot of people that don't make me any money. But I love them, and I want to help them. And if you'll do that, God will take care of the rest of it, y'all. He's going to bring you the right people. Okay? I hope that helps. That's all. I mean, what you see is what you get with me. I am very approachable. I'm very just like y'all. I mean, Susie will tell you, I'm just like y'all. I'm not some put on a pedestal kind of person. I don't ever want to do that. I don't ever want to be that way. And I hope y'all can see yourself being a leader of people, but yet still being who you are, the good part of who you are. Take care of the bad parts of who you are. Get that out of you. Just grow, read the books, do some quiet time with the Lord and just ask Him to show you where you need to change. And He'll show you. Okay? I hope that helps. All right. I love it.